What's up, everybody? Free Gaming here, and today I'm going to be talking about something that's been on my mind for a little bit now. It's actually been a minute since I uploaded anything. If you guys missed me, I have no followers. Anyway, what I want to talk about is why you should not go to college. That's right. It's time. We need to talk. Some things have happened. Some things have changed. And college isn't, she's not the girl she used to be. She used to hang out at the park eating ice cream, wearing flip-flops, and now she goes out clubbing till 3 a.m. drinking martinis, mai tais until the sun comes up. And it's just not good for your health, fuckos. So I'm sorry, but I know you like her, but you gotta let her go. So without further ado, first of all, college is expensive. It used to be that back in the day, as in like the 70s and 80s probably, it used to be kind of cost effective to go to college because it only cost you around $1,500 in total, like overall. Okay, don't quote me on this, but it was kind of expensive, but it was more like a goal that you could reach within 2 years. You could feasibly reach that goal if you went ahead and decided to pay it off. Nowadays, college can rack you over $10,000 a year, and that's just to start off. That's just to get your prerequisites done, which will be your regular classes like your English, your math, your sciences, all that good jazz. That's $10,000 a year, bucko. And I know what you're thinking, but mommy and daddy have saved up money for me to go to college. No kid, no. Unless mommy and daddy are rich, your college fund is only going to get you through your first semester. Okay. Or you could go to a community college and then you can save some money that way, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with saving money by going to a community college. But in terms of a university or in general, college is no longer the cost-effective solution that it used to be. Okay, so do take that into account. And a lot of people end up taking loans so that they can pay for college, not knowing what it is they really want to do in college, and expect for it to pay off by the time they come out. Listen, guys, unless you know for sure what it is that you want to do and how far you're willing to go to achieve that goal, you shouldn't really take out any big major loans in order to fulfill a goal that's pretty much undefined. That's not a good idea. That's what us adults like to call a risky decision. Okay, you might already know this, but moving on. Another reason why you should not go to college is college are experts at giving you the runaround. Yeah, you thought AT&T was yanking your chain when they told you that they couldn't offer you that special that they clearly advertised. But really, college is the king of yanking said chain. College will have you running around like a chicken with the goddamn head cut off while trying to deal with all of the financial problems, and every obstacle that could possibly come up will come up, including that Starbucks barista giving you the wrong order of coffee. It will happen, because you know what happens when you go to college? Everything happens when you go to college. The sun comes up, the offices are busy, there's 2,000 other people just like you who have no idea what they're doing, and they all have to flood the offices so they can get signed up for registry deadlines and all this other crap that no one tells you about until you actually go to a college. Especially if you go to a university, you have to run around a lot. You have to get all sorts of paperwork done. You have to get all sorts of prerequisites done that have nothing to do with what you would think they have anything to do with. For example, when I went to college, I went to CSU, and so say about that what you will, but they actually had me signing up for all these different extra programs to go along with going to CSU. For example, you have to take writing across the curriculum, which is a whole set of extra classes that you need to take on top of your degree, on top of all of your other prerequisites to graduate. So that, combined with the fact that you know, you have to fit them within your schedule and pay for these classes just makes, you know, there's a ton of more planning that you have to do around this whole concept that you did not anticipate when you were coming to CSU. Okay, and CSU is not the only college to do this, to have these sort of ancillary requirements that you have to fulfill in order to go ahead and attend their school. So yeah, that's just one way that you'll have to be running from office to office, trying to schedule up these different meetings with these different, you know, what do they call counselors, because you have to take a slew of classes that you had no idea you would have to take and have nothing to do with your major. Okay, and that's just the beginning. That's not considering, you know, registering for classes, deadline dates. That's not considering when a teacher stops teaching a class last minute, or when a class gets full and you happen to miss that opportunity because you didn't sign up fast enough. So now you have to go back and sign up for a different class, which is possibly related or probably unrelated, and keep checking back to make sure that you're actually in the class. And then there's all the stuff you have to do for financial aid, which a lot of you already know about or will find out about. And it's a real hassle. I mean, it's time consuming. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's definitely something that you should really think about before you get all hyped up on the hype wagon and jump into college. Another reason why you shouldn't go to college is, you know, at this point in your life, you may be a teenager, you might be an adult, you might be in your early 20s, or maybe you're even in your 30s, but you're thinking about how to get your life together, maybe moving out of your parents' house, maybe stepping into your own. And what ends up happening is, at the beginning of your career, no matter what career it is, you're at your lowest point. You don't have any money. You don't have any stability. You have no credibility. You have no feats of greatness to speak of to get you a higher paying salary. So when you go to try to go for an apartment or go for a house, you're left with several options. Either you can A, get yourself some roommates, B, live with mommy and daddy for another 5 years, or C, you can go ahead and get yourself a high paying job so you can afford rent. Now, if you go to college to stack in all that stuff and pay bills on top of that, you are now dealing with 3 worlds of trouble. There's a financial world, then there's the housing world, and then there's the location of where you live, and where that is compared to your job, and where that is compared to your school. So now, if you have a car, you may be thinking, well, I'm fine, I have a car, that's not a problem for me. You would be wrong. You see, when you have a car, it makes things easier, but it doesn't necessarily solve all of your problems. In fact, having a car presents its own set of problems to compound on the rest of your problems. So do take that into account when thinking about making the big leap to go to the big U. Ooh, whoa. So another reason why you shouldn't go to college, you ever, you know, started reading a book and then not more than a year later, not more than a couple months later, a movie comes out of the exact same book, and in the movie they basically cover a lot of the topics and things that you would have read in the book in the course of about an hour 45 minutes. College is a lot like that, in the sense that you sign up for college, you go to take all these classes to find out about your trade or your skill, and besides the major hard trades like being a doctor or a lawyer, you know, other types of schooling that you can go to don't require you to necessarily take a whole class on it. So you go and pay for these courses to learn about something that you could have learned about on the internet or at a library or an encyclopedia. Okay, now college does offer you some credit in by way of certificates and degrees and whatnot that you don't really get if you just crack open a book, which is definitely true. However, at the same time, with the growing internet age and digital age that we're in, it's becoming a lot easier to become a freelance worker, or to, you know, find out a way to use information that's available to you for free to go ahead and incorporate that into your skill set. So there's no real reason for some people to actually go to college and pay the full scale cost of that. College is a gateway into a world of new opportunities, no doubt. But unless you really know what it is that you're aiming for, it could be dangerous to sign up for that much responsibility and that much money that you're spending and time that you're putting into this effort. Another reason why you should not go to college is well, your relationships are they're gonna suffer, buddy. I got bad news for you. A lot of times people go to college, and by the time you come out of college, half the people that you knew before college you're not friends with anymore. You don't talk to. You've broken up with that girl, or you haven't seen this person in years because you've changed your whole life. You've made a lifestyle choice in the form of going back to school. Yeah, when it comes to going to college and your relationships, your life is going to change in the form of the people you hang around sometimes, how often you see people, whether or not you get to spend time with that person that you're used to spending time with, and all that's going to play into who you talk to and why. Now, this might not seem like a big deal until you consider the fact that if your parent is sick, or if you have a sick family member, you're not going to have time to spend with that person before they pass, if they do. You're going to be too busy worried about your classes and keeping up with your schedule to really spend time with that person. And I've known people who have gone to college, and right after they gone into college, their parents have fallen into poor health, or family members have fallen into poor health, and they're sitting there telling us and our friends about what's going on, but they can't do anything because they can't afford to skip college. And yes, there are some times where you could take a hiatus and you could go ahead and go visit your family member, but you can only do that some unlimited number of times before a teacher is going to tell you, hey, you can't keep skipping class, you have to show up XYZ, and also you'll get too far behind. And I know that kind of sounds a little pessimistic, but the reality is life is short, guys, and you never know who you could lose because of scheduling issues. It's like kind of that problem of how they say, oh, this guy's super successful and he works hard, but he never spends any time with his family. It can turn into that situation depending upon how demanding your college career turns out to be. So you should think about that before signing on to a long-term commitment to do that. Do you have a family member who's in hospice or bedridden that you want to spend their final moments with before you miss out on something important? Okay, that's a part of going to college. Another reason is because of the fact that when people go to college, a lot of times people don't know what it is they want to do when they go to college, or they have a general idea, but they quickly find out that course is not going to work out for them. So they try to change, and then you're presented with a lot of different options that are actually increasingly more daunting in how they work and what you have to do to make them work than what you originally planned. And then they're looking for this environment where they could come and study and find this mentorship and get into it, and they don't find that guiding hand or that strict rubric that teaches them how to get through the process. Instead, they're met with deadlines and tests and financial problems, which adds on to the stress of being in college. And it kind of turns into this bad stress. And this bad stress essentially creates these complexes where instead of helping you or motivating you to perform or inspiring you, it just creates a complex where you do something negative that doesn't help you at all. And if you guys want me to talk more about complexes, I can get into them in a video. Comment below, let me know, and I can talk all about complexes and how they affect the human psyche. So that is a big reason why you may not want to go to college if you don't know what it is that you want to do. Like I said, if you know what you want to do and you have a clear definition, maybe your parents have done this, maybe you have family members that have already done this, and they can clearly tell you what to expect and what it's going to be like, so that's one thing. But if you're like a lot of people who don't know what it is that they want to do and don't really have an idea of what to expect, you may want to reconsider jumping into college as your big move, because you're not going to find a lot of cut and clear guidance about how you should live your life in terms of your trade or your study. You know, you can take a look at what people do on average, but what you're going to find out is that you may still be finding yourself and trying to figure out how it is that you want to live your life, and college isn't going to help you find out what that inner truth is. And by the time you realize what it is, you could find out that it's not going to college that's going to help you get there, but too late, because you've already signed up for $20,000 worth of debt. And this happens to a lot of people who drop out, and they don't like to talk about their college experience as a result, because it has nothing to do with their passion in life. A lot of the most successful people in the world actually dropped out of school or were told that they were never going to make it in their field, and they found their calling doing something that they didn't need to go to college to do. So that's just the simple truth of the matter. You know, another reason that you maybe don't want to go to college is that you might end up being introduced to the drug scene. That's right, kiddos, it's time to talk about the big bads: alcohol, sex, and drugs. When people go to college, a lot of people, we all know about those crazy frat parties, bruh, where you go and you get totally wasted, man, and you sleep around with as many people as you want, and it's absolutely amazing. But what comes along with that can be mild alcoholism, where you binge on alcohol way too much, and that turns into a problem that lasts your entire life. What could come along with that is light to heavy drug usage, because you're surrounded by these people who do drugs and they make it seem like it's okay and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it, so you try it, and 10 years later you're sitting on the street, you know, overdosing on some drugs because, you know, you went down that path. And God forbid, you know, I would never want that to happen to any of you, and I hope that it doesn't happen, but do be aware that those pressures do become more prevalent when you go to college and surround yourself with people from different backgrounds, and you're put into this new scenario where, you know, everything's different, everything's interesting, and you're tempted to try. You know, that's one of the reasons why you maybe want to reconsider if you want to go to college at least right away, or what you're going to do about it. I don't know what your stance is on drugs and alcohol and everything like that, but you know, you definitely want to have already decided what you're going to do about that. And then excuse me, that leads into sex, which is the next topic. When you go to college, you might end up having a lot of sex. You're going to meet all different types of people. You might have 3, 4, 5 relationships where you have sex casually and you enjoy the fruits of your social etiquette. However, that comes along with risks, including sexually transmitted diseases and having a kid, and, you know, all sorts of things that can make or break a person when they are trying to get up on their feet and start their lives. So do be aware of that. Always wear protection when having sex. Always use protection, double check every time. Guys, make sure you don't fall into the trap of having a kid too soon. It's not fun, I tell you. It's a beautiful experience, don't get me wrong. Having a son is one of the most beautiful things you ever experience. But at what time is the question? What time? You don't want to have a kid in college. You don't want to be that person that's in college that has a kid and has to find a babysitter and has to deal with all that, and you can't sleep and concentrate on what you need to do. You know, be careful of that. That's extremely dangerous, and you're going to be exposed to a lot of that in college, okay? Including sexually transmitted diseases and different types of sexual partners that want to try all sorts of different things, okay? But another reason is, frankly, guys, a lot of times trade school is just better. A lot of times going somewhere for far cheaper to do something that's more secure in your field, it's going to be better than taking a huge risk and going to college and trying to jump into something that, while it may be traditional, may not necessarily have all that much stability in terms of its job, you know, the lifespan of its employees or workers. Or the environment could be especially competitive. And what that will cause to happen is, it will cause, instead of you being able to pursue your goals in lieu of, you know, what you're trying to do, you'll find that you have to compete with 10,000 other people who may be better suited at your job, God forbid, or have a leg up on you. And that can take a real toll on a person when going after their goals in life, because that's just table topping, it's world flipping. But of course, none of these things are going to deter someone who is truly adept and knows what it is they want to do with their lives. Alright guys, I'm calling it. So that's what I have to say about going to college. Let me know what you think. If you would like to hear me talk more about complexes and stresses and how they affect the human brain, please let me know. I will also probably be doing a why you should go to college, so please do check that out. Please subscribe so you'll be notified when those videos do come out, and let me know what you think and tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I'm doing right, call me a poopy butt, do whatever you want. But I will see you next time on Free Gaming, guys.